Hey everybody, welcome to a Tatter-a-fact at the Girlz Ink studio here in Las Vegas, and I'm feeling pretty good today. I got a really cool guest who's got lots of opinions and excited to share them, and I'm really excited to hear them. So everybody welcome Moses Garcia to the show.
Hello,
Hey,
Moses.
Moses. I like that
Moses
name.
Garcia. Yeah,
Yeah.
some people call me Moises, but it's not the Spanish version, more the English version.
More the English version.
Moses.
Moses. All right. Well, I like
Yeah.
that. Moses. So your company is No Limits Cosmetics. No
Yes, ma'am.
Limits Cosmetics. That's where they can find you on Instagram. You are out of Arlington, Texas.
Yeah,
And go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Arlington, Texas. Work at Arlington, Texas. A lot of people in the area are always like, "Man, you drive way to Arlington," because I actually don't live in Arlington, Texas. I drive like 40 minutes just to get to Arlington, Texas. But the reason why is because of the location. You know, location is important. You know,
Yeah,
you gotta have a good location, and you gotta have a location where we have like the AT&T Stadium over here, so Dallas Cowboys. Arlington's really known, you know, for Rangers, the Cowboys, and
right.
so it's it's in the middle, and it's about 30 minutes. You know, the radius around all the major cities are around Arlington, so that's the reason why my location's in Arlington. That's why I'm willing to drive. Sometimes you gotta be willing to do that. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Location matters.
Well, they say location, 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 right? Yeah. All right, so let me just do a little. So you started in 2018, so almost 6 years ago, and I think this is really interesting. I got a couple little stories that I want to tell my listeners before we kind of dig into PMU topics. And I really love this about you. I learned this, that you were actually a trash truck driver or garbage truck driver. I think they're called different things in different cities, but you were driving a garbage truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a front load driver.
Front load driver.
So I'm the one that used to pick up those big dumpsters, probably even at your location. They got those big dumpsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I drove around and did that.
Yeah, like my trash men love us because you know we give him cookies, we tip him on Christmas, we know his birthday. Yeah, so we're really good to our trash truck drivers. But it was about 4:30 in the morning. You were driving. I don't know if you were happy where you were in your life. I'm assuming like you were maybe questioning what you were kind of doing in your life at the moment, because you were driving 4:30 in the morning and you heard a lecture that Denzel Washington gave, and he was actually quoting Les Brown. And the quote, I'm just going to paraphrase, but it was, "You're in your deathbed and the ghosts."
The ideas you didn't act on.
Right.
All the potential you had.
Yes.
They're angry. They're upset.
Yes.
They say, "We came to you. We could have brought you to life," they said.
Yeah.
You're going to take us to the grave together. So basically, you're just trying to find your passion, because we're all gifted, right? We all have passion.
Well,
you know?
Yes.
And
do you know, I always say one of my favorite things I always try to remind people is we regret way more, Moses, the things we did not do in life, the things we didn't have the balls to go do in life, than the things we did do that maybe we're not so proud of, right?
Yeah.
You always regret way more the things you just didn't do. So I always encourage everybody, look, if there's something you want to do, it's important to make it happen. So how you ended up on my podcast, it was later at night, and I was scrolling on Instagram, which I never do. I just don't really peruse Instagram too much. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, I don't. But I check my DMs and maybe a couple accounts of like my friends, but I'm not a big scroller. But that particular night, I was sitting in the living room watching TV, and I'm scrolling through Instagram, and a video of you just like kind of popped up, and I listened to it. And why I listened to it, I don't know, because a lot of times I just keep scrolling. But I stopped and I listened to it, and you were asking if anybody wanted to do a collaboration with you. You wanted to do a collaboration. If anybody's interested in doing a collab, you wanted to start working with people, and you just kind of put it out there. And
yeah, and it was something I've been wanting to do, you know. for over a year. It's one of those things, like you said, you want to get to it, but you never get to it.
Right. Right.
And I was like, there ain't no way. I don't need to be perfect. I was like, just get in the car, just let people know you want to do it, and just do it. Because sometimes you got to do that. You want to set it up a certain way and do it the right way, but sometimes there ain't a right way. Sometimes you just got to do it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm glad I did it, because look, now I get to be on the podcast with you.
Yeah. Well, it prompted me. It struck me. It hit me a certain way, like some type of way. It just hit me, and I appreciated what you were doing. I appreciated your message and your ask and putting it out there, and it just prompted me to DM you, and I did. And I just asked you if you want to be on my podcast, and here you are. So I just think that's really kind of cool.
Hey, and by the way, y'all, I was gonna fly to her.
Yeah, you were. Well, you were.
I literally bought tickets. I was like, you know what? I'm going to fly down there and meet her in person. That's all
I know. Well, the other morning, 3 or 4 mornings ago, it's like you emailed me and I'm reading it and I'm like, telling me what time you land and this and that and the other. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy thinks he's flying in for the podcast.
Yeah, tickets paid. I was ready to go see you.
I appreciate that a whole lot. But one of these days, hopefully you do come up to Vegas and do something.
That'd be awesome. I've never been to Vegas, so that would have been another thing. I would have been to Vegas the first time, and it would have been to meet you.
Oh, man. I know. But we're going to make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we will.
All right. So look, we got some things to talk about. So that's what got you into permanent makeup. So obviously, when you were driving that morning, right, and you heard that message, that lecture from Denzel Washington, it struck you some type of way. Were you not feeling satisfied where you were in your life? Were you on a path of searching for something more meaningful to do, or?
Yeah, it was just the fact that I was at that company for 4.5 years. Good job. Trash man make good money. I was making $36 an hour. It wasn't bad. I had a comfortable life, and I think that's what all we go through, right? So then I'm hearing that motivational thing, and it had me question after it got done, because like I said, the whole thing with that, if y'all ain't seen it, y'all need to check it out with Denzel Washington. But it had me question, like, am I doing God's purpose? Mm-hmm. Like, am I truly doing it? I was like, nah, I'm a trash man. Like, God, you really got me on this earth. This is what I'm supposed to do for the next until I retire, is dump trash the rest of my life. So I'm like, there's got to be a purpose. And his response is more like, man, Moses, I bless you with a talent in art, and you don't even use it. That's the way it was sounded to me. That's the way I heard it. Was like, and you don't even use it. Like, I've given you it, and I started thinking about it, and what did I used to draw? So God highlighted the fact that what I used to draw, I used to always pick up a pen and pad. And now you got a couple of people, artists, right? Some artists can come up with cool creativity on paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wasn't really an artist.
Like right out of their imagination.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the artist to come up with creativity like that. I hated that about me. I was the artist that, when you're in science class, or not science, art class, they put something in the middle of the room, and you had all the kids around would draw it and see who can draw it. That's what I was used to, so I used to do that a lot. So I can never come up with creativity. I can draw what I see, and I can put it anywhere I want, whether I want to make it small or big, whatever. But the thing is, like, God highlighted that I used to actually draw when I did draw, and I did use them. I used to draw women's eyebrows and their eyes and their lashes. That's what I used to draw, and it hit me. Where, like, it got me into. I used to run across a lot of microblading stuff, so I ran across some microblading videos, and I was like, man, I would love to do that. And I was like, oh, maybe that's what God wants me to do. Maybe he wants me to give back, Maybe I could do that for people that have cancer and they lose their eyebrows. That'd be a good way for me to leave a footprint on this earth. But again, I was broke. I didn't have the money, and I literally had to, like, 8 months came down the line of me just thinking about it, because we all get that, right? God shows us a vision. He shows you what we could be doing, and a lot of times we wait and we don't really pursue it, Mm-hmm. And by that time, we've already been convinced that, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do it, and it just takes just a few minutes of just ruining something that God had showed you, because he'll keep showing it. He'll keep showing it to you, whether you didn't see it now, the next year he's going to keep reminding you, hey, what about this? And you're going to be like, man, maybe I should do that. Well, 8 months goes down the line, and I'm desperate at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm living in a 2-bedroom duplex. My daughter, they're all sleeping in one bedroom. And we're living check to check. There's times when I have to freaking cut grass just to make it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we've all been in a really bad situation. So where we want change. And at that time, my wife, thank God that she wanted to go look at homes. And at that time, I used to always be like, man, I got bad credit. We ain't got money. But I never tell her that. But I'll be like, you know what? I'll go look at these homes with you, even though I don't think we can afford it, but whatever. But thank God that she did that, because my 3 daughters going in that house and wanting to, and being excited and claiming their room. That's going to be my room. This is going to be my room. It really lit a fire under me. I was like, man, you know what? I need to do this. I know if I did this. So if you're struggling right now and like doing anything that has to help others, uplift others, that can't be anything more successful than that. That's what I would consider success. You know what I mean? When you can uplift another individual with the talent that you're given, just like you do,
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the beauty industry. We're all doing something to uplift somebody. I have so many women that come in here that are divorced, you know what I mean? That are down. They don't really do things for themselves because they're a mother for so long that they kind of lose themselves in a way, So I see that. So having these conversations with them, it's great to be able to uplift them, make them feel happy. Seeing them tearing up, or even having conversations. Like, can't imagine. I mean, look at the amount of people that we actually like run across and talk to. That we get to have all these conversations, and it's just awesome, because it's more than just an appointment. Sometimes it's like a therapy session, if you ask me. Meeting. I see it like that.
Oftentimes,
I like to listen to them and hear them and relate to them and motivate them, and it's more than just an appointment. But anyways, I got motivated by getting that house. It was during COVID. I freaking didn't have the money, but went ahead and signed on the house, and did it, and it motivated me. It motivated me to hustle, and I hope it motivates anybody else to hustle. Just take that risk, just do it. I mean, at that time, I didn't have the money, and I did it. And at that time, you don't have time to think about it. If you're desperate and you're in a situation where you're struggling and you hate where you're at, and you just want to make money for yourself, you want to feel independent, and you're looking for something to help others, like, just go for it. These services, any beauty services, whether it's areola tattooing, brows, lips, it just takes one. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like, just do one at a time and stick with it.
Yeah. So you do, and that's a really good message, because I think right now too, there's a lot of people, hurting, with the economy and just the way things are in the world right now. We see our industry going through a big change. We see lots of PMU artists, not being able to build a clientele. They're getting second jobs, or they're just leaving the industry. We're seeing people, close down left and right. So that's a really a great message. I feel if they're meant to be in here and they want it bad enough, then that's what you do. You go get a second job. And you make it work. That's what I had to do. My first 3 years doing permanent makeup 22 years ago, I worked a second job at night while I built, my skills and my clientele.
And how long did you say you did that for? 3
years.
I did mine for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I did 2 years of just dumping a trash can. And then while I was dumped, going on my phone, and you got to hustle, I'm messaging people and then go to my next can, dump that one. I message this person, and like, it's a hustle. You got to be willing to.
It is a hustle. It is a hustle, and it takes a hustle and grind, determination, commitment, and belief in yourself. If you really, really want it, if you feel this is what you're supposed to do and this is what you want for yourself, then.
Well, a lot of people think it's fast and they think it's quick, and
that's what a lot of people are promoting, though, Moses. And so, so you get the newcomer, the newbie into the industry that doesn't know any better. And this is what's being, promoted. I mean, they're promoting 6-figure incomes, and that's all obtainable. I mean, you can make a 6-figure income in this industry, but not in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe not even 5 years. I mean, it takes time.
You got to be consistent.
You got to be consistent.
And here's the deal. Here's the biggest thing is right when you get done with your class, you got so much support. Everyone's like, hey, pick me. I want to get my eyebrows done. Right? It's a lot of good noise. Everyone's supporting you.
Yeah.
Right? It's so great. You're like, all right, this is going good. And guess what? A week later, it's quiet.
Yeah.
You hear crickets. No one's supporting you. No one's even liking your posts. No one's messaging you no more. And that's the most important part is you got to be your own cheerleader, like you have to. How many times I've had to like cheer myself on? You know how many times it can even be someone as close as your husband or your spouse, you know what I'm saying? It can be your wife. It can be someone that just kind of, they're not really giving you the positive feedback because things aren't going well at the time, and it's scary. You're not sure what's going on. Hey, I thought you were going to make this much money. I thought you were going to do this, and you got to be your biggest cheerleader. Like, you have to. That's the hardest part. That's why people quit, because they think they're going to do it. They get all the support. They got all these hands up. I want to do it. Can you do me next?
Yeah.
And then it gets quiet and they get discouraged. You know, you can't. You got to stay in your lane. You can't focus on this artist or who this person's doing better or this person's doing better. Like, you literally got to just focus on what you want to do, how much better you can get. Use it as inspiration. You know what I'm saying? I look at other artists. I'm like, wow, that's freaking great. Like, I want to get to that level. I'm gonna save that video. You know, instead of other people, they see it and they get discouraged. I'm like, I'm never going to be that great. Of course, no one's that great. It takes time. You know, you got to be consistent. Yeah. Here's the biggest thing. You want to know why people don't get successful at doing PMU? Because a lot of them want to get comfortable and they don't want to put themselves in situations to where they got to like hustle. They want to do it out of their house, which you ain't supposed to do it. You know, they don't want to put themselves in a situation where they got to pay a booth rent. And that's the biggest thing. Because whenever I got done doing permanent makeup, when I learned it, I jumped into a booth, and even though at that time it was $200 a week, and my wife's like, that's $800 a month. We don't even have that money, you know. I didn't look at it that way. Somebody else is gonna have that money. You know what I'm saying? It's not coming out of your pocket. You got it. This is your goal. You got 7 days to find one person a week. That's gonna pay that. That's gonna pay my suite rent. And what that's gonna do is gonna keep you consistent with hustling, because you ain't trying to pay that. I ain't got that money. I'm not trying to pay that in my pocket. I'm trying to get somebody to pay it because I ain't got that money. But what it did was it kept me consistent. And next thing you know, instead of having one person a week, I had 2 people a week. All right, I just profited an extra. But it's never about the profit. You know, you can't get discouraged. You gotta put yourself in a position where you're gonna be risked. You know, we're in a big risk situation and there's no out. You know, you got to do it. Otherwise, you ain't gonna be successful. But most people, that's why they do it. They think it's just gonna, you know, be a snowball effect of success, and I'm gonna make 6 figures. And it's not like that.
No, it's not like that. But it's not like that in anything. You know, it's not like that with hairdressing. It's not like that with anything. You know, anything worthwhile takes time. So you do ombre, powder brows. You do lips. You do areolas, 3D areola work. And am I correct that you actually do tattoos?
Yeah, I do that too.
You do tattoos. But you know what I did not see in your portfolio?
But the Scout Micro? I do that
no,
also.
No, I didn't. No, I don't care about that. You're missing eyeliner, Moses.
Oh, I've done it, but I don't.
Dude, what? I know you're the like, take a risk. You know, put it all out there. You just need to do it. And
let me ask you this:
what?
If you're doing eyeliner and you had a lady open her eyes while you did it, would that scare the heck out of you? Because it scared me. Dude. It scared me to never do it again. I was like, she was like, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna get my eyes.
Oh, come on. Don't be a pussy now. Put your big girl panties on. I have done over 7,000 eyeliners. Eyeliner's my jam. So yeah, you just got to control the eyelid. When it comes to eyeliners, right? Because I think eyeliner is the second most requested procedure. Like, artists not doing eyeliners are missing out on, first and foremost, a fabulous service that really can enhance someone's face, someone's eyes, someone's look, their self-esteem, how they feel about themselves, and it generates a lot of income. But 90% of the industry, they're focused on, you know, they do mostly eyebrows. I do like that you're diverse, where you are doing areolas, you are doing lips, you do tattoos. But
I'm gonna have to go take a training with you or something. I'm telling you, like, I've done it, and that freaked me out.
You just gotta learn. There's just a few key points about eyeliner that you have to learn that will make you feel a lot more comfortable. And with eyeliner, it's all about being in control. Controlling the movement of the lid, being in 100% control, 100% precision. And yeah, it's like, I mean, it probably took me about 50 eyeliners to get really comfortable. Now I'm well over 7,000.
Let me ask you this. So is it more about depth? Is that the biggest thing? Like, or if you go just a tad bit too deep, are you already like, all right, now it's going to start swelling up? Or is it like, some clients swell up more than others?
Yeah. So you know how there's a lot of misconception and a lot of untruths out there, right? And right now, our industry, a lot of people in the industry, they feel the procedure should look like it's healed. when they leave the studio. It should look, there should be no pink, no swelling, no, you shouldn't get any bleeding. And that's just a bunch of like bull crap, because they're tattooing really superficial. But I use a 5 shader. I go proper depth. My eyeliners last right about 4 or 5 years. I go proper depth. Some clients, hardly swell at all. And maybe just a tiny little bit of puffy, little bit of pinkness. And then you have some clients that do get a little swollen. And then maybe 5% of my clients will get, wow, I mean, they just get really darn swollen, and they can even get a little bit of bruising. So that's more on the rare side to see like big swelling and even some bruising. But if you've got someone with really super thin, fragile skin that's really reactive, we're talking the thinnest skin, some of the thinnest, most reactive skin on the body, those eyelids, then you can get some swelling and some puffiness. That is not abnormal, but no, it's a great procedure, and if you learn it correctly, then I think you'd end up loving it, and I think you'd be really good at it, Moses.
Man, I'm telling you, that wing though, I can't stand the wing. When I want a wing, it ain't easy getting those wings even.
No, it ain't. No, nothing that beautiful is supposed to. Nothing's easy, but wings, and I do a ton of wings, right? And when I was a younger artist, before I knew better, I was using black carbon. I was putting wings on anybody that wanted them. I'm in Vegas, so we have a big diverse clientele here. So I did a lot of wings, but 10 years into doing eyeliners, I learned, okay, let's not do the wings in black carbon, right? I don't want wings to last forever. I want the wings to fade out. I've learned that maybe about 60-70% of the clients that request wings can't have them. They don't have the eyelids for them.
So they got hooded eyes, right?
They got hooded eyes. Yeah, they just don't have the real estate for them. So if you follow all the rules and the guidelines, then you can do wings super sharp, super beautiful on the right person. That has a certain vibe, certain look to them. Not everybody that even requests wings and probably has the real estate even has like the vibe for a wing. I think it's a certain look. But no, wings are great, but you got to be careful with the wings, just like everything else. There's a lot that can go wrong with eyeliner, but there's a lot that can go wrong with eyebrows. There's a lot that can go wrong with lips. It's just learning each area, I think.
Yeah, you got your whole little rhythm and technique down. So
yeah, it takes me like 45 minutes to do a top and bottom eyeliner. Boom.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
Yeah.
That was another thing I had a problem with. I was like, man, this shouldn't take me freaking hour and a half to do this.
No, because you're talking like a little spot like that much, right? And you can do a tattoo like that big in an hour and a half, but it takes you like 2 hours to do a little line like that. Yeah. I know, but like I said, it's just learning how to work on an eyeliner and work efficiently. So if you're working efficiently, then you can get a top and bottom done in an hour or less, man. 45 minutes, when you're working quick and efficiently. So yeah, no, I love eyeliners. I think it's my favorite procedure. But it's the procedure that makes me the most nervous. But I love it. Yeah.
Maybe you like that. You like being under
I do.
High risk.
I do. Yeah, I kind of like that pressure on me a little bit. All right. So I was like checking out your portfolio like online. You do really great work, man. I love your brows. You do really good areolas. Your lips are like flawless. You do really, really great work. So powder brows, ombre brows, so what's your jam? Like what's your number one procedure?
My number one procedure, I mean, what makes the fastest money, I'll say eyebrows,
Eyebrows. Is that your favorite though? Money aside, is that your favorite procedure?
Money aside, my favorite, I have to say the areola.
Areola?
I think because I'm still challenged at it. That's why I think that's why I'm favoring it more, I'm favoring it more even too, like when it's done. And the husbands that are there watching and they see it done, they can't believe it. They're freaking out because it's like, man, you're like, thank you so much. Can't stop saying thank you.
Yeah.
I think besides money, areolas, because I'm still learning it,
Yeah.
It's different when you're doing eyebrows. You're used to just doing them all the time. Or lips, it's just another color. But it's different for the areolas because it's like sometimes you got to try to match it with another one that's a unilateral. And You know, you got to do the bilaterals, and it's just different all the time. And I'm still learning. You know,
Yeah,
still having fun.
it's a different. It is different. You know, I think all the work we do is rewarding if our clients love it and it makes them feel attractive and pretty and better about themselves, and all the work we do is rewarding. But the areola is more rewarding, but because they're warriors, right? They're cancer survivors, and so
Yeah.
they walked a path, you know, to even get to our appointment. Imagine what they had to go through to even still be here today and be, you know, in our studio, allowing us to restore what cancer took from them. So to me, it's really deep, rewarding work. I think that is real service right there. And
What's crazy is I barely realized, like literally, I just had an areola 2 days ago. I just realized. Remember, I was just telling you how God was trying to tell me, like, oh, you do eyebrows. You know, you haven't. I get blessed you with the talent in art, and you don't even use it. And my highlight was eyebrows. Remember, I was telling you that.
Yeah.
2 days ago, I realized he wasn't even. That's not what he meant. He was meant like areolas, because I remember being like, man, he did amazing. Like Ben Carson when he did a brain surgery. I think he you know, there was two kids. What do they call it? Their brains were stuck together. He basically was the first person to ever be able to detach them.
Oh yeah, I don't know the technical name.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it. But yeah, he actually took them apart, the two brains apart, you know, and I thought that was crazy. And I was like, man, that's amazing. And guys, you know, the same way that he's blessed to do that, you artists are blessed to do what y'all doing, you know? And that's when it just hit me. I was like, man, maybe this is what he wanted me to do, you know? Is areola tattoo. And I always thought about doing it, but it was just a thought. But once my wife had her surgery and whatever had happened, you know, that's what pushed me into it. That's why I started. There's a backstory to everything we do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's my backstory. Yeah.
How do, yeah, I have an off the wall question for you, but, so it's women that, how, has anybody had any like weird comments or been a little uneasy because you're a man working in that area?
No.
No.
I mean, I get really good compliments as far as side bed, you know, they say I'm really good side bed. I'm very confident. They say, man, like because like when I'm doing trainings and people are watching, like sometimes they're scared to get on them and kind of get pressure and get comfortable.
Yeah.
So they say that I do it in a way that makes them comfortable in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
so
good.
But yeah, it's I get really good I have really, really amazing clients, you know, constantly referring. I mean, we couldn't do it without them, you know. So yeah, I get a lot of good feedback, and yeah, it's great.
So what's your favorite what are your favorite needles? So when we're doing I do areolas. It's so weird. It's like I just booked like 3 in the last week. I don't know. They're usually come in a little bit more sporadic, but like in the last like 7 or 8 days, 3. I mean, 3 3D areolas, you know, clients I just booked. Yeah. So I got like 3 the month of April that I'm doing. But, and so, you know, when and none of them have nipples. So with every single one of them, I have to create I call it the illusion of protrusion, right? Yeah. So we have to create that illusion that there's an actual, you know, a nipple there. So we use I use like 3 different needle configurations and multiple colors. What are your favorite needles for your areola work?
My favorite needle is our needles you get Girlz Ink, right?
Yeah, the OMG needles.
Yeah, I love those needles. I use them specifically for the areola part of it. Not necessarily I could use the ones for the nipple too, but I've used the honestly, I don't even look at brands, but the one brand I do specifically use is the OMG needle for the 0808 round shader.
Yeah.
Now if I want the 0814 round shader is pretty good, but sometimes I feel like it's saturating too fast, and I still want to see them back in the touch up, and I want to have room to add if I need to. But the 0808 round shader is amazing. I love the round shader. You know, that needle right there really can give you a nice soft areola look without making it look like, because some people use flat shaders, some people use other ones, you know. I specifically like the round shader.
The round shader,
I'm looking to keep my motion going. I'm looking to keep that nice softness. And it does the best. And like I said, before I did it on anybody, I practiced it first. I learned on latex. I practiced. I checked this needle out. This needle, this needle out. So I like that for my areola. I like to use a 20 RL, you know, a 23 RL. I like to use that for more of my details. I like to use a 35 round shader for my underneath my nipple area and around the nipple, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, But that's what I use specifically, just those 3 needles right there. Those 3.
Nice.
Yeah, but the 08, I couldn't do it without the OMG, you know, 08 round shader, 08 14 round shader. I couldn't do it without them. If y'all went out of stock on those needles, I'd have to find another freaking brand.
Well, you know,
and it's cute. I love the pink color. Like, that's awesome too. It's cute. It goes with what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's pink, you know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you know, when I was developing my needles and my configurations and everything that I wanted in that line, like, I'm a shader girl. I love 8 shaders, you know, 5 shaders, 14 shaders. But I mean, before I came up with the OMG needles, you couldn't find smaller diameters in those configurations. They were all like 0.35 diameters. So I definitely wanted those configurations, but in smaller diameter sizes. So yeah, we get a lot of people really, it almost seems like just the last year, the OMG needles just really have just blown up. I think people had to really use them for a while to appreciate them. And then kind of organically, word of mouth, people posting about them, you know, they just really, really took off. So I'm super grateful.
Yeah, I love the way you branded them, like from the box to the color of it to the little heart on there.
Oh,
yeah, y'all really designed it. Yeah, y'all designed it really nice. I really like it.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So my favorite needle for the areola, the base, you know, the circular part, the base of the areola is I'm the 9 mag, the 9 curved mag. I love that. Yeah, love that. For the nipple, if there's a nipple, I just had to do an areola with an existing nipple. Like her real nipple was there, and I actually had to tattoo it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. It helps you out as far as like making it look 3-dimensional.
No, I know, but I don't like tattooing.
I love when the doctor makes a little mound. I love when they leave a little mound for me. I'm like, cool. Now I could really make that.
You can really make that. I know, but tattooing like a real nipple, not one like a plastic surgeon made. I mean, but her real nipple. Painful. It's hard trying to grab that and get a good stretch and get all. I you know, it's always been a little challenging doing that. And we do a lot of like real areolas, like maybe they lost some coloring. Those are difficult, man. Hard to get a good stretch.
I've done one. I did one recently. She came from Houston, which is 4.5 hours from Arlington. But yeah, I did hers, and she'll be here next Thursday, so I can't wait to see how that healed. You know, so I can. That's the same reason why she had a breast augmentation, and then when they put the nipples back on, they kind of lost color around the edges, and they look kind of jagged. Yeah, so I get those clients too that want me to, you know, fix them up. They want them more rounded.
They want them more rounded, and sometimes they end up with like a white scar, you know, around the edge of the areola.
That's another reason why I do mine more rounded. I know some people are like, oh, that's not realistic. Like, real nipples aren't completely perfectly round, but like, I'm like, people come in literally for me to make them round.
No, but you know, well, no, you're right. They're like real areolas on women are not perfectly round, but just about every client I do, they want round.
Yeah, they want perfect.
They want perfectly round. Yeah. I've noticed that too over the years with my clients. So that's awesome. That's great. So let's talk about your brow work. So you do ombre, powder brows, right? Yeah, they're beautiful. I love your brow work. I think it's like totally stellar. What needle?
You had a podcast about that. You're talking about saturation, and that's the biggest thing. That's the difference between I see between the two, and it's my opinion. Because everybody's calling ombre and powder brows the same. Do you get that a lot?
Yeah. No, it's definitely different, the saturation, right? So we're doing different saturation levels in an ombre brow, with it being super low saturation, you know, in the front.
Yeah. It's like completely saturated from the tail, and the only area that's light is in the front. That's what I would consider ombre, because it's only ombre in the front. And it's more for those, like, to me, in my opinion, is more to someone that doesn't have any eyebrow hair. Or somebody that wants a daily makeup look. They're always having lashes. They want a full makeup look. They don't want to deal with their brows no more. Then you got those clients that like have a little bit of hair, or those clients that don't want a fully saturated brow. They're looking for the natural look. Then that's what I consider a powder brow, because it's not as saturated. It's more of a pixelated, if anything, a little more softer. That's just my opinion. But they get called the same. But to me personally, when I need to like explain to them which ones they want. Me personally, just the way I do it, you know, when I tell my clients the difference, that's what I tell them. I was like, well, you wanted something like a daily makeup look, or you wanted something where it's gonna look like you literally just put your brow powder on. It's pretty dark, and you have your lashes. You wanted that dramatic look, then that's ombre.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you want something a little more softer, then I go for the powder brows, and that's like you said, just less saturation, more room, to add color into it, whenever they come for a touch up. But
yeah, and I think the industry like needs to start like because they'll, if it's not ombre, then they call everything else powder brow. But powder brow mimics the look of like powdery brows, right? But within a powdered brow is that low saturation, which mimics a woman like dusting powder on her brow area. Then there's medium saturation, and then there's high saturation. So to me, a high saturated brow is not really a powder brow. It's not even really a shaded brow. It's more like a solid brow, or a striking brow. If you say solid, that scares people. But more of like a bolder brow, a more striking brow, right?
And there's pros and cons to that. Like the pros to that is, it's gonna like the pros to that is it's that dramatic look. But the fact of the matter is, you saturate the skin so much, you can't really do anything after that first session. Yeah, you'll get a touch up, but you need to really wait a couple of years till you come back for that touch up.
Yeah.
Like we gotta have it fade off a little bit. But I see some people really saturated. I'm like, that looks great. It looks fully bold. But when it heals, they better be careful so it doesn't cool off, because they really saturate the heck out of that skin.
Yeah.
Like my opinion, powder brows. I like powder brows more. Me personally, I like that soft look. I like the fact that I didn't oversaturate the skin. I like when they come back, I can still add to it. Compared to ombre, you really saturating it. You only have so much to do with it,
But. But Moses, I think like I'm in Vegas, so I do soft powder brow, medium, and bold. We have a lot of show people here that are in show business and cocktail waitresses, and and they like a more striking, bolder look. And then of course I have very conservative women. That like a soft powder brow. So I do all three pretty much evenly. But I do think there is a very skillfully way to do a more solid, striking powder brow and still have it look really good. Like I will always make sure like a millimeter or two, like the edge, especially that top edge, is soft. Yeah. So there's a skillful way to do it, to where you can get like the middle of the brow being, more, high saturated, giving the client that striking look, but making sure like just a little bit of the edge is like soft and powdery, so it doesn't look like a sticker. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I like giving the look of a bolder brow on women that can wear it. Especially if that's what they want. That's what they're paying me for. But I always make sure like that my edges are soft and it's not overly saturated and it doesn't look like a sticker, So I don't like that. So when I introduced you as an artist who had some strong opinion. You have some strong opinions. And so in your opinions on microblading, or nano brows, like personally for you just don't really dig that style of work for you personally. So I wanted to like talk about that a little bit. Microblading, it hit the industry maybe 12 years ago, and it wasn't that popular. People were kind of looking at it as, what the hell is this? I think microbladers got some backlash and they really took some shit from the industry. And then the microblading community just grew and grew and grew to where, it's a valid section of the industry. There's amazing artists out there doing great work with microblading. I don't think that service is going away, but it's not as popular as it was when it first got popular. I see more microbladers now transitioning over into shaded brows and powder brows.
And then we got to ask why. That's the question. Why are they doing
that?
I
think some of them will always still do microblading, but they've learned that you cannot do microblading on every skin type. There's some skin types that You just cannot do or should do microblading on or hair strokes on, period. And so they realized that maybe they had to learn some hard lessons, see their work not heal great, and they learned some lessons. So although they like microblading, they do really good microblading. Now they're learning machine. So when they get skin that's oily or textured or, older, more fragile, they could do like a soft powder, machine brow now. So I do see some microblading artists getting a little bit more versatile and incorporating machine work. And then you see some microblading artists just so dissatisfied with their work that they're leaving it all together and moving solely into machine. So what was your experience with microblading, and what caused you to have such strong opinions about it?
Well, because when you were desperate to learn a technique, you've learned it, you got it down, you learn all the hair strokes, the different patterns that you can do, And when you see multiple clients come back and you start to question yourself, like, is it my fault? Am I doing something wrong? These patterns look good. It looked good when they left.
So is that what you learned first, Moses? So right out of the gate, that's what you learned. That's the very first thing you learned was microblading. First thing
I learned.
Okay.
So when you've already invested so much, you borrowed money literally to take this course. You learn these, and I didn't go with anybody. Feebrows is a pretty known microblading, academy. So I went through there, and I knew when I wanted to do this, I wanted to go with the best. And I was trained by one of the master technicians that showed me how to do it, So I didn't just be like, oh, well, maybe it was the person you went to. Nah, I went to somebody that knew what they're doing. And I learned these patterns. And if you went through Feebrows, they have you go through some programs and stuff to elevate yourself. But when you've invested, you borrowed money, you're desperate to learn a technique, and your goal was to give back hair strokes to a client that had lost it due to alopecia or cancer. And you start to see all these people coming back. And I'm not specifically talking about those that had cancer and alopecia. I'm talking about just ordinary people that wanted to get microblading. And they come back, and you're starting to notice, man, that's 10 people that came back, and you're telling me all these clients right here is not healing good, or not at least healing to what I expect and what they expect. Because what they expect is what they paid for. Mm-hmm. They paid $800 for that microblading. Looks like real hair. They were so happy and excited. And then they're questioning you, and this goes for everybody, whether you want to believe it or not. You're gonna tell if you got those messages, hey, well, no, these strokes are gone, or what's going on here, or this is gone, and it's not right for us to blame it on their skin type. It's not okay to do that. Like me, I like to be straight up and honest. And if it's not gonna heal to what I'm expecting and to what they're expecting, guess what? I'm not gonna do it no more. I'm not gonna sell a product and say I'm gonna give you a natural hair stroke, and then have you come back and say it's your skin type, and then but knowing. For a fact, if it doesn't heal like real hair, it's not going to heal like real hair. It's never going to heal like real hair. You're cutting the skin, you're putting ink in it, you're hoping it's going to, all you're leaving this poor client with is scar tissue. And then they come back again. And they're trusting you. They're coming to you multiple times. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting touch-ups. They're paying you money for these touch-ups. And you're just cutting over them scars, over the scar, over the scar, over. How many times you're going to cut over a scar before you're like, I need to stop doing this for this client? Or you're saying, or you can, like I told people, I said, look, I can do you microblading, but I'm going to do it. And if I do it, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to heal like real hair strokes. So you make the option. Do you want to do it or not? But when you come back and I tell you, all right, how about we go with this other technique? Don't be upset that I'm charging you for another service. You know what I'm saying? Because I've already told you what it's going to heal like. And now that out of date technique's starting to go away, like people are starting to realize it. It's all over TikTok. Everyone knows. Even artists know. I see artists getting their microblading removed. And these are like really good artists, you know what I'm saying? They're getting their microblading removed and going with the powder brow ombre brows. But now we're coming out with the nano brows. This is a whole different technique. Now we're selling them another product. This is nano brows. It's a natural look. And then that is it, just plain and simple, cutting the skin. You ain't going to have like real hair strokes. That's just the way it is. If it looked like real hair, tattoo artists will be doing it. If I'll be doing tattoo and my line that I did on an arm or something, I'll be freaking using that little microblading tool, making them real nice hair strokes. I mean, you'll see it in the tattoo industry. They be using those tools, but it's not. You're doing the same thing, except you're using one single needle to create these little hair strokes with the nano brows. And me personally, I just don't like that everyone's not being honest about it. That's what bothers me. Like, be honest about it. Would you do that on your mom? No.
So let me ask you. So I'm going to play devil's advocate, right? I'm going to play devil's advocate. So there are some microbladers out there. I'm not gonna name names, but I mean, you look at their Instagrams, and a couple of them I know. They're doing beautiful, beautiful work, and they are microblading. So, is it just they figured out a different technique? They're more particular about the clients they'll work on, because there are some artists out there, Moses, that.
But it may not even be the artist. It may be the client. Just that 1 out of 10 client had a nice healed. That's the thing. They look good when they're done, but I want to see healed work. Yeah. So they come back, it looks healed, and that 1 out of 10, because that's usually what it is, maybe 2 out of 10 that actually have a good healed eyebrow and they post it. But most likely, you can ask a lash artist. If you're a lash artist watching this and you worked over somebody, you tell me how many eyebrows you've seen of microblading and shaded work, and you tell me which one look better. They'll tell you this. They see eyebrows all day. Like, they'll see all these microblading people, and I've seen people got it done with really good artists too. And the fact of the matter is, it just doesn't heal right. Until we're honest about that, I don't know. But hey, that's just my opinion. I ain't got nothing against anybody that does it. I like to be straight up honest. And look, I borrowed money to take that class. Yeah. And I decided after I did so many clients, I said, I ain't doing it no more. That's how truthful I am. Some people just keep doing it. But like me personally, I was like, I'm not doing this. If I want to do it on my mom, I'm not doing it on no other person. Yeah. I like to do what I believe in. That's just me. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I see beautiful work too, but it could be a false advertisement. You know what I mean? It looks great, but who knows what their healed work looks like.
You're just skeptical, man. You're just not buying the microblading thing. I get, there's a lot of people that feel that.
Hey, nano brows is going to come around, and people are going to say the same thing. It'll come around. I don't need to say it. It'll come around. People will be honest, and there'll be some videos out there. We have TikTok now, and you'll say, there's already plenty of microblading ones.
Nano brows is just a new term that someone just decided to call hair stroke brows. I mean, what's the difference?
You know what's crazy? Let me tell you this. This is what's crazy. Machine work on the eyebrows used to be banned. If you did microblading, it's you do not put a machine on the eyebrows. We do not use machine on eyebrows. Remember that was?
No, that used to be popular. A lot of microbladers marketed that way. We don't use a machine. We do hand tool. It's not tattooing. It's semi-permanent. It's just all repackaged, for marketing purposes. But machine hair strokes, I mean, machine hair strokes have been around ever since I've been licensed. That's 22 years. I mean, I've got good friends that do machine hair strokes, and I do see her work a year, because she comes to the studio, and she does classes at the studio. She'll do clients at my studio and for years, and so I do see her work a year and a half later, and they heal really well. Like like her work's not looking like shit. It looks good, but what I will say is she's very particular on who she'll work on. She will not put hair strokes on anybody that's sun damaged. She will not put hair strokes on anybody that has, that are too pink or red or ruddy or oily. It has to be the right skin. And the other thing I like about her, this is Mary Richardson, a good friend of mine. The other thing I like about her is she's really honest. She's one of these hair stroke artists out there educating. Look, if you do hair strokes, they can look beautiful and age beautiful, but you only certain skin, and you can only do them maybe 3 or 4 times, and then you cannot do them anymore. You have got to transfer them over to a powder brow, because you're going to cause scar tissue. So she's one of those artists that is real about it, honest about it, and putting out, the right education on honest education. Whereas a lot of people that do microblading or hair strokes, they're not being forthright, right? They're not being transparent that, no, it doesn't look good on everybody. No, it doesn't heal good on everybody. No, so you're absolutely right. The only place I kind of disagree with you on is that I do think there's some artists out there doing microblading and hair strokes where their work is healing and aging well. But those are the artists that are really honest in telling people, you have to learn how to do shading too, because you can only do microblading or hair strokes on the same person maybe 2, 3, 4 times. and that's it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to start scarring them, you know. But and you know, the other thing you mentioned is you never see the healed work with people doing microblading or hair strokes. But I would say that about the majority of people doing ombre and powder brows. I mean, I'll go on account after account after account, all right, all doing beautiful. It's all fresh, Moses.
Yeah,
it's all fresh.
They gotta have those highlights. Everybody's got to put those highlights in there. Put those healed highlights.
Those healed highlights. They're filtering. They're altering their photos, and there's nothing healed. There's nothing healed. So I think that's a true statement, like across the board for lots of artists, all different techniques. So I think artists need to start posting more healed. You know, more artists, you know, like you and Mary Richardson's, and you know, the artists that are just more outspoken and being honest about the different techniques and when they're going to heal terrible, like what you experience, what you see. Out
and a lot of it's not our fault. Sometimes the clients, they just don't listen. You know what I mean? That's what's funny when you have them on Facebook and then you tell them to do something. Next thing you know, they're at the gym the next day.
You know, but I'm, you know, for me personally, I don't prefer hair strokes or microblading. It's never been my forte. It's just not my niche. It's not what I would want on me. And it just ended up not being my forte. That, you know, that's all. I would do a few, 3 or 4 hair strokes sometimes in the front of the brow when that made the brow look better. But I'm a powder brow girl. You know, I have been most of my career, and maybe that's because I came from body tattooing, you know, and I prefer shading. But, and I do agree that the powder brow, the machine powder brow, you know, that it just ages better. It does. And that technique is suitable for all skin types. It's not limited. It's not limiting.
With good pigments, with a good pigment brand, you can't go wrong. You know, got a good pigment brand, and you'll be all right. You know.
So okay, so you're starting to see. So how many years were you doing microblading to where now you're convinced? Look, I'm just not really digging how these are aging. Was it a year, 2 years?
6 months. 6 months, and I
did 6 months, just like that. You knew.
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah. If you see so many people coming back and it looks like crap, you know, and you start questioning on your technique, you're like, I'm doing it right. I hear the sweet spot, like I'm getting the right depth. You know what I mean? And you're just like, what's going on? And then you start to come to realize that, man, it ain't me. It's not me. You know, it's not my error. You know, so I don't know. I just didn't like it no more. That just, you know. But if you're doing microblading, great for you. You know, I mean, but it'd be good, like you said, it'd be good to learn the shading one too. You definitely want to learn how to do a shading technique. You know, I think the results will last longer, and that's what will bring you referrals. And I know that for a fact because that's what brought me referrals. If you're doing microblading and it's not healing right and it's pretty much gone, how are they going to refer you? But when you do that powder brow work, guess what? Their friend saw it and it healed nice. Yeah. And that's all my stuff's about referrals. Very rarely I get it. I get some of it, you know, online and stuff like that on my Google page, but most of my clients are because they saw somebody that had it done. You know, that's all my work comes from that, you know, so.
A lot of people look at microblading or nanostrokes almost as like an introduction. Like if the client's nervous and they don't know if they want to like commit, then microblading or nanostrokes is like a good procedure to start them off on because, you know, it doesn't last as long and it heals softer. So some people kind of
scare them away. You'll scare them away with that. That they have nightmares about that cuts. You know, they literally tell me, I hear oh my God, it's scary. Like I'll never do that again. That's a bad thing about it. Like man, like you know, what I mean, I'm sure you get clients too that had microblading. You having to remove it. I see it all the time on your page. You're having to remove their microblading. You know, and it could be a scary thing. They want to get rid of it. And now it scared them to me. They'll think about it. I'll think about if I want to do another brow procedure because they done got frightened off of what had happened. You know, they took the chance. They've been wanting their brows done forever, and they took the chance and did that natural look, and now look, you know, now they're just wishing they never done it again, and they're not even recommending it to nobody. You know, that's the fact of the matter. You know, so, but that's what I think. Matter of fact, I need to get into that service, learn how to do tattoo removal. There's a girl right here by my in our city. I just send them her way, but
you should learn. You should learn lift removal. It's a great service. I think I personally think, look, if you're gonna put pigment in the skin, and especially if you want to correct and help people with bad brows, like learning saline removal, it's fantastic. It's a great service. Comes in handy. We do it all the time at my studio. We're removing all styles. We're removing bad microblading, bad nano strokes, bad powder brows, bad solid brow. We're removing everything. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could show you. We just, oh God. I mean, we just got a solid brow in yesterday, man. You should see it. You should see it.
I can't imagine.
The whole top of the brow is like wavy, and the fronts are just squared. It's thick, and it is solid. Solid.
Yeah. I mean, how many sessions is that going to take?
Well, we're very honest with her. It's going to be, anywhere maybe from like 3 to 6 sessions. The good news is, she's not afraid to have a new pair of brows, which is a good thing. So we may not have to remove 100% of it and get it completely gone. Maybe just the top area where there's some bits and pieces that aren't quite even. But yeah, I mean, that thing is just so solid. It's sad, man, what we're seeing out there. I just talking to somebody not too long ago and about all the influx of just botched bad work in the industry right now. And, and I think that just has to do with the industry exploded a few years ago with, lots of people coming into the industry all at once. We had a lot of people from the beauty industry, just flock into PMU, which is great.
You notice you got PMU now jumped to tiny tattoos. You starting to notice that?
Yeah. You got that. And so, I don't know. The only thing I know is I don't want to govern like the industry. I don't want to be the governor and police the industry. But that's why I started like this podcast, so I could have people on that, have like strong opinions about things, and maybe a lot of listeners are feeling exactly the way you're feeling, Moses, and and they're not hearing anybody say it verbally and openly as you just did. And then we're going to have listeners that are going to completely disagree with you, and
that's okay.
Yeah, maybe you hurt their feelings a little bit, but
no, it's okay. I'm open. I'm real open-minded, so I love conversation,
conversation's good, even if we're hearing things that maybe don't settle well with us, maybe if we're hearing things that we don't agree with. Opening conversation and dialogue is really good, right? Just sometimes the delivery is not so good, and it can be offensive and a little disrespectful. I've certainly seen that in the industry. But I think if you learn how to express your opinions, your thoughts, and what you believe in a graceful manner, then no one should get offended. We're not all going to agree on things. And I think that's how we grow as artists, right? I'm going to grow and learn more from artists that do and think differently than me, than artists that do and think like me. That's how I feel, right? That's how I feel. So, yeah. I mean, what's that?
I said, I'm the exact same way.
Yeah. I love it.
Like, that's what I like. There's no right and wrong way. I love to hear everybody's opinions, and I like to work outside the box. I don't like to just be taught a certain way and then just stick with that only. I like to hear other options, hear other ideas. That's how you get better,
No,
rather
that's how
than
you get
just
better.
always sticking to that same needle or sticking to that same technique. Everybody has different techniques, Everyone's taught different ways, and there's some ideas that'll help you, help you improve, be better, and make sense later on after you hear it. Didn't make sense before, and all of a sudden you hear it a different way. You're like, and that makes sense. Right? I never thought about it like that.
No, it's true. It's true. And I'm still learning things to this day. From people coming onto the podcast, I have young artists in my studio that use single needles, and I got a young microblader in my studio. I go in, I watch her work, I ask her all kinds of questions because I worry about things and how it's going to age. And So that's how I learn. And it's, you know, and I think sometimes the older you get, Moses, you know, it can be a little bit harder to be open-minded, do you know? Because you get set in your ways. And I never wanted to be that artist that got set in my ways and didn't have an open mind and couldn't have open dialogue about even things that maybe I don't think are great, or things that I think, you know, provide a good service, do you know? So I'm always careful not to get you know, to get that way.
I love constructive criticism too. That's how I got better. My wife telling me when a brow looked good and when one didn't. I needed that. You can't be around people that give you yes, that looks good. That looks good. No, my wife, when I got home, I was excited. I took 4.5 hours on these eyebrows because I'm just learning, you know. I get home, I can't wait to show her. Oh, they're so far apart. Why didn't you bring them in more? Or, man, that looks way too archy. Like, you should have added some at the bottom of her arch. See, that's why I got better. I had to give credit where it's due. That's my wife, you know.
Well, hey, behind every good, talented man is a woman, right?
So, hey,
so you're lucky. You're lucky you have her. So real quick, let's just wrap this up real quick. So tell us what your favorite needle is for eyebrows.
Eyebrows, I don't have a favorite needle because it depends. Like, I always stick around with the 30 and the 25. So I like the 30 diameter. If I'm wanting that powder brow to really pop and have them nice pixels in the brow, I'll use that. But if I want an ombre brow, I stick with the 25. So 25 gives me that real smooth.
So you're talking single needle, 5 shader.
Yeah.
Single. You're single. So you're a 1RL.
I like 25 1RL for my ombre brows, and I like my 30 1RLs for my powder brows.
Yeah. See, I'm not a 1RL kind of artist. No. Every once in a while, so I don't lose like my mojo with it, and and I can like keep young.
I just like it defined. It's pretty defined. Like when I want to get real close to my edges and that bottom line, which is the concealer line, I like that line real clean and sharp. That 1RL is very smooth with that. You know?
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I think the lowest needle I go, I like the 3 shader. Yeah, that 3 shader is like, man, that's a pretty sweet needle. If you haven't tried the 3, I'm going to send you a 3 shader.
Yeah, I need to try that out.
Yeah, no, it's a really sweet needle. All right, Moses.
You know what's weird too?
What?
With lip blush?
What?
I need to use a 3 round liner. I've tried it before. I feel like it doesn't really saturate like I want it to. I still use a 1RL.
Oh my God, really?
I know. I use a 31RL, but I have a good stretch, and I barely use the tip of that needle. And I feel like because that needle is a 1 needle, that ink goes in and it leaves that color. Compared to when I have 3 combined needles together, that's a pretty large diameter. It's trying to get into the skin, but it's not really.
So what if
there's a lot more of a blunt force rather than a clean, you know?
So what if you've got a client that wants like that lipstick look? Like she doesn't want a tint.
I saturate more.
She doesn't
saturate more. I saturate more, and I keep them strokes. I'm sweeping, and I'm slow with it, and I'm keeping my sweeps real close with it. But of course, I numb it. I'm constantly numbing it. But I think a lot of it's the stretch. I think a lot of people that do it in the industry don't really stretch it that good.
Yeah. And lips can be hard to stretch too, man. That can be a hard stretch. So you can get high saturation with a single needle. Yeah, I had an artist in my studio that could get pretty good high saturation with a single needle too, and not a lot of people can. Like it will take them multiple sessions to get to a higher saturation. Just because either they're going a little too shallow or the way they move.
Lips, you gotta be willing to be patient with it because lips is. You gotta be willing just to relax. I'm there. I'm just relaxed. I'm comfortable, and I'm just taking my time with it. And that's the thing. Good posture, relax. I'm literally on them just like Rick. I'm like this. Just open your mouth. All right, good stretch. Turn them this way. Good stretch. Turn your head over. This stretch. Dab it while you're doing it, so it's not getting in their mouth. Like I have a little way that I like to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna sign off. Do you want to leave my listeners with one little, I don't know, tidbit, your favorite quote or something motivational?
Biggest tip is, I would say just take the risk. Don't plan, I like to take the risk and just leap for it, because all it takes is 5 minutes. Like I said, God's showing you something that he wants you to do. You either have 5 seconds to do something. Are you going to go ahead and take the action, or are you going to wait them 10 seconds and Satan's already told you, nah, it ain't going to happen. You can't do that. You know, it's not going to work out for you. You know, that's, man, just do it, you know. Deal with it later, you know. Take the risk. Anything you do, put yourself in a risk, in a situation where you're taking a risk, you know. Like I said, even with me, put yourself in a situation where you're going to have to pay that rent. That booth rent's going to cost you this much a week, but guess what? You're not paying for it. You need to find someone to pay for it. So take the risk. Do it right. Don't do it at your house. Do it, you know. If you don't take yourself serious, ain't nobody else going to take you serious. And I've been staying to that motto every year. You know, I always try to do so. I never want to be comfortable. Every year I'm trying to do a new thing. So like I said, I opened up in a salon and suites, and now I got people over there doing their thing in that salon and suites, you know. And now that was a year ago. And now this year just started. I got a barbershop going. I want to get that barbershop going. And I'm trying to put people in positions to where they're going to grow, you know?
Yeah.
Where they're in that situation I was in. I'm not just the person that rents out suites. No, I'm not, you know? I'm somebody that I'm still hustling like you are. I'm still here trying to find clients too. I'm not just somebody that rent out suites and I don't know what it's about. I know what it's about because I've been there, you know? So put people in that situation, helping they grow, you know?
Yeah. The hustle never stops. The hustle never stops. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That's a good message to leave on. So I'm gonna say goodbye. Don't go anyway. Don't go away. You stay right there, okay, Moses? All right. All right, everybody. That was Moses Garcia hanging out with us today. Great conversation. So before we go, I just want to remind you that my OMG eyeliner blacks have launched. The eyeliner series, OMG Black Eyeliner Series, have launched. We got 3 different colors. We've got Super Black, which is a deep, dark black with a little bit of warmth in the base. We've got black, Brownie Black, which is a black brown, a little bit of warmth in the base. And we've got Black Fusion, which is a really unique hybrid, inorganic and carbon black in Black Fusion. So 3 great blacks. Give them a try. And my high saturation eyeliner course has launched as well. And I think we have a bundle deal, don't we? On the pigments and the course. Yeah. So I'm super stoked. And everybody that's purchased them, everybody out there using them, all the comments, all the feedback, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We worked super hard on these 3 blacks. And I'm really super proud of them. And stay tuned. We got the OMG brow pigments and lip pigments coming later this year. So thank you for that. All right, everybody, stay in the pursuit of happiness, and we will see you next time.